Right, is it going to work tonight? Let's have a look. See, I think so. That looks promising. Okay. Yes, evening. Is there anybody there? Hmm. Usually people pop up and the video doesn't, and tonight the video's popped up and people haven't. That's interesting. Maybe there's nobody there. Maybe I'm talking to myself. I'll give it a few minutes, and if nobody appears, then I'll go and do something more useful and come back on Friday. So we'll see. Ah, Peter Stella, good evening, good evening. There you go. Somebody paid attention there, didn't they? Let's see if there's anybody else out there. No, there isn't. Oh, maybe it's just a bit slow tonight. Evening, Rob. Evening, Gary. Hmm. Weird. It says here no one's there, and clearly you are, so that's good. Evening, Paul, as well. Right, so a quickie then. Tickets for Sunday, if you haven't booked already, links on the website, and also I just put it in the chat here as well. Do book in, because Paul needs to know how many burgers and sausages to buy, etc. How much cake to bake, and all that sort of jazz. So book in. It's only a £5 ahead. Doesn't even cover the food and drink, so it's not like anyone's trying to profit out of you. So book in, make sure so we know who's coming. 11 till 4 Sunday. Then those of you who are staying a Saturday night, I think there's quite a few actually. We'll be meeting at the pier Saturday evening in Clacton. What time did we say? 6 o'clock, I think. That's say on here, isn't it? Let me have a look, so I don't tell you wrong. 6 p.m. Yeah, here we are. Look, we're staying for the weekend. Saturday evening, meeting at the front of the pier about 6 o'clock. Wander into town. It's a very good chippy with a bar in it. Very impressive chippy with the bar in. So we're gonna have some dinner there, and then probably back down to the pier a bit later on for some playing some machines, some bowling, some whatever, etc. Have a jolly evening in Clacton. Then Paul's from 11 o'clock on Sunday. So there we are. It's going to be a good weekend. There's a good few people coming. Some people coming over from Northern Ireland, I think. I think they're the furthest so far. Yeah, see if you can beat that, anybody. But hopefully I think he's trying to sort his flights out at the minute. So that should be good. If anybody's bringing a machine, I think Ollie's going to bring a machine or two, I think he said. If I have time to dig anything out, all my stuff's in store at the moment, but if I have time to go and fetch something, I will do. If not, then hopefully somebody else will bring some machines as well. But also Chippy's booked for 6:30. There we are. I've got about 13 so far. I hope you've put me on the list. So yeah, that gives you an idea. There's quite a few people staying. And it's going to be a busy day, I think. Hopefully the sun will shine this year. So there we are. Details are there. Get booked in. Now, if I can get it to work, I was going to give you a very quick look at the very first glimpse of new website system, which will probably break because it's not finished yet by any means. But just to give you a little idea, I haven't been doing nothing the past few weeks. Hang on a moment, let me get the right picture up. Here we go. Yes. So this is going to be much more easier to explain in a week or so when there's a bit more of it built and it's a bit neater organised on the page. And obviously this is the first one, is the circus one, hence the circus posters here at the minute. But the idea is, so on the old Colcon site, as you know probably, we've got the like the wanted section. So you can put wanted adverts on there, and the idea was to try and encourage stuff into the auctions. Back when I first built this idea, right back in the days of the old crazy COVID nonsense, if you remember, we did sealed bids, secret sealed bid auctions for a bit just to keep things going while we couldn't meet up and do proper auctions, etc. And that was all kind of a part of that system. So one of the things people often said is, well, if someone's got an advert on here, they'll pay £1,000 for a darts machine, whatever. How do I say, oh yeah, well, I might be interested in selling mine? And you can't, because the system wasn't ever built to do that. The new one is, basically. So if I can find the right screen again. So you see here, things for sale, things wanted. And I'm not logged into the right type of account on it because I can't log into multiple accounts and show all on the video at the same time. I had to do them on different machines. But essentially, you'd go into objects, and this will be full of all sorts of things. On the machines, well, obviously be full of slot machines, etc. But you get the idea. So you go to, find what you're looking for, do a search, whatever. And if you've got one for sale, you click a button which will say sell mine. Or if you want to buy one, you click this button which says to put a wanted bid on, and you put how much in, you're prepared to pay for it. Same as on the Qualcomm site. Okay, so those bits are kind of the same, and there'll be a sale button here. If you want to sell one, click it, and that will list your item for sale. So back over in the marketplace bit, you then place a bid. Now this system works from both directions. So if you can see this kind of thermometer-y thing here up the side here. So the seller sets an asking price, and bidder or bidders set a bid price. So just like you're negotiating with somebody face to face in the pub or at the car boot or whatever, and you go, oh, well, I want 20 quid, well, I'll give you 15, well, we're about 18, and so on and so on and so on. So this system does that. So it's really kind of hard to explain with screens at the moment, but just think of it as what you do with anybody you meet, your mate or whatever, and you do a private deal between you, you negotiate, and both sides negotiate, don't they? Seller starts high, buyer starts low, and you adjust your bid until you meet in the middle, and you do a deal. You shake hands and off you walk. So this is just doing that idea, but digitally essentially. So hopefully if I pick one here, if I pick this one, look, Circus Horrors poster, so someone's asking 15 quid, so I can go away here, I can put a bid on there, and I'll say I'll pay 7. There we go, place a bid at 7. It gives a minimum, so you can't so don't waste your time at printing a pound. So there we are. So it tells you, look, the seller's asking £15, highest bid is 7 at the moment, there's a gap of 8, so it calculates the gap. Somebody else can come along and bid 10. The seller can drop their asking price. If I log in on my other screen here, this might work or it might not. Hopefully it will. Bear with me just a tick. Which one have I just bid on? Circus Horrors poster. So if I'm the seller, I log into my screen. You won't see this. It's on a different machine. Hang on a minute. Manage listing. I've got a bid of 15. So I can drop my asking price to say £12 if you like. I haven't tested this bit, so I hope it's going to work on doing across 2 screens. Let me see if it's worked. I'm not sure it has, which is just slightly annoying if it hasn't. Let me just try once more. Revise asking price. I don't think it's going to behave. I need another day or two of coding. No, it's not. But the gist of it is essentially the seller would get notified that they've had a bid at £8 in this instance. And they might say, well, I'll drop my bid to 12. The buyer then gets notified that, oh, the seller's dropped their price. What about 12? Bidder responds, how about a tenner, etc. And when the two meet, you agree a deal. Contact detail, well, or then a little message box appears so you can contact each other, sort a deal out yourselves. So we won't be getting involved with taking money or charging postage or any of that nonsense. Just connect the two people. The old collector-connector idea. Connect the two people together. You sort out whatever deal you want to do. If you want to pay by PayPal and post it, fine. If you want to meet in a lay-by on a Tuesday afternoon, do that. If you want to say, oh, you're going to Paul's at the weekend, I'll see you there, pay your cash, do that. Whatever you do. And then the interesting bit here, which no other system does, is once you both can confirm it, i.e. the seller says, yeah, I've got the money. The buyer says, yeah, I've got the thing. All the history disappears. So we're not tracking you like eBay does, every penny you make, or Facebook and telling Rachel Reeves. The only thing that will be kept is like the picture of the thing and the price it's sold for, because that all builds into the price history, same as on the as we do with auction results. But there will be no way of saying who bought it or who sold it. That all disappears completely. 2 reasons for that, or 3 reasons for that, several reasons for it. One is data protection, your data protection. If the data is not there, it can't be stolen, simple as that. Not that I think anyone's going to target our site when there's, you know, much bigger fish to fry, but it's still a consideration. That's always been my philosophy with websites. If we don't keep your information, obviously we make the site secure anyway, but if we don't keep it, no one else can get at it. So that's that. So it's only kept for that short period of time while you're negotiating. And then once you've both confirmed you've finished the deal, it just gets deleted. It saves a whole load of rules and regulations that we'd otherwise have to comply with, personal information and all that sort of stuff. And we're not tracking your data. So things like, I mean, Facebook Marketing, that they make your data on something like that is worth way more than they make out of you. It's always that thing, isn't it? If you're not paying for it, then you're the product. Trying to actually find out what your data is worth on those sites is really hard, but the estimates, because the industry doesn't like to reveal it. But on something like eBay, Facebook, the best industry estimates you can get is your personal data that they harvest out of you. Everything you look at, everything you click, everything you buy, everything you sell, who your mates are, things you look at, things you link to, all of that stuff as a whole is collected in to build a profile on you. It's worth at least tens, maybe 100 or two per person per year. Scary stuff. Don't like it at all. So that's where they make the money, basically. And then they also report it all to the government, which you may or may not like. I'm not to say. That's not my business. So we're keeping it anonymous again, just like the auctions are anonymous, just like the old Coldcon system was anonymous. So no one knows who's bought anything, no one knows who sold anything. Once the sales finished, not even I can find out, because it's not that it's not shown anymore, it's literally wiped out the database. So there we are. So that's the gist of how it works. It sounds a lot more complicated than it really is. The thing to think of it is, it's just as you're standing with somebody at the bar and you're knocking out a deal between yourselves and you shake hands. One pays the other, off you go. That's it. We're just doing the digital equivalent of that. So hopefully that kind of makes sense. Evening, Brian and Ollie and Simon and whoever else I've missed. Gary, will you know where the seller lives? So yeah, we'll put something on. We'll put a rough thing. So it's all this thing about you know, privacy and so on and so on. Obviously, you need to know roughly. So how exactly I'm going to determine the roughly yet, I don't know. It might just be the person says. So if you're roughly Birmingham, put Birmingham. If you're roughly London, put London. If you're rough, you know, whatever. Just so someone's got an idea, as you say, because if you're principally at the start, and it will be for stuff that can easily be posted. Yeah, it's like smaller things. Obviously, the circus stuff is all like posters, programs, anyway. But we'll want to roll out the slot machine site. The idea is we'll keep the slot machines in the proper auctions, but spares, books, bags of coins, bits and bobs like that, anything that's smallish, lowish value to start with until the system's bedded in, and you can post easily. We can do it like that. It's going to get a lot worse with our own data centers. Yes, it is. A lot worse. So I'm being as anti that as I possibly can. And hopefully people will eventually grasp onto the idea. They might not, but it's an option. So that's just one of the many features that's being built, and there's all sorts of other things. But that was the trading bit I want to show you. So you can ignore all the layout. This is all just test stuff at the moment. But let's say the equivalent on the slot machines. Obviously, the object bit is you know, all the slot machines. Easier to find this time. So you start typing in for whatever, it won't work. There's nothing in the database here. But once you start typing, it automatically, you know, so on machines, if you start typing BRY, it bring up all the Brian's machines or whatever as you type. Obviously on circus we have people, because circus is all about people and performers. Doesn't apply so much to slot machines, does it? But we'll track people, Mr. Brian's, Mr. Oliver Wales, and so on and so on and so on. Works is for stuff like films, books, magazines, all that sort of stuff. You know, works as in works of art, published works, organisations. That's all Circuses, obviously in the case of circus, but in the terms of slot machines, that'll be like, we won't say organisation, it'll be like makers, all the different manufacturers of machines. And you click onto them and they tell you a bit about the circus in this case, but it will be the, it will tell you all about Brian's works, if you like, and the people who are connected to that, Mr. Brian's and so on. And you click on Mr. Brian's and that'll bring up Mr. Brian's profile and so on and so on and so on. So everything's linked through to everything else. In case you have Jerry, look, then it says, you know, what other circuses Jerry was connected to and so on, and who he family was and who he collaborated with and all that sort of thing. All these things linked up, everything links up to everything else. The interesting thing with slot machines is when you look back at all the old patents and things, is how many cross links there are from different people, from different companies. And that's really hard to kind of hold in your head. But the system I built works all that out automatically, basically. It's clever stuff. Places. Here we've got permanent circus places. On the slot machine thing, that will be things like your penny arcades, existing, not existing anymore, used to exist. Manufacturers, where Ahrens were based, where Ollie Wales was based, all that sort of stuff. Any locations and any stuff then connected with them. So we can put in what we got here, you know, history of the locations and things, etc., etc., etc. Blog news and events. Well, obviously, news is news stuff. Events on circus is literally circuses. These are all real ones, sorted by places or date, whatever. What's the date today? 1st of July, isn't it? 1st of July. They shouldn't show the ones that are already done, but anyway, there we are. You can see where they are today. Look, Circus Fantasia. There we are. Look, they're in Salthouse today. That's real information. They are really there. Again, with machines, obviously that's going to be stuff like our meetups. It might be things like, you know, maybe people like Peter and Robert and Chris and Darren will tell us, you know, when their arcades are open for the year, or even which days they're open. Anything like that, anything that applies date-wise. There's various other features that aren't on here yet as well. So yeah, then we'll have all the auction price history stuff will be in there, but much better presented now than it is on the old website. So if we go, let's pick some of our favourites. We always usually go with Brian, just things, don't we? Because we've got lots of results on. Let's pick something. We've got a lot of Brian's balloons. There we go. There's quite a lot of those. So rather than just a list of prices like we have on the old site, there'll be price graphs over time. Be able to inflation adjust them or not. Because once you go back more than 4 years, you know, well, it's quite funny where we're looking at, you know, things like the old coin slots and things where there's great price histories in there and things like, oh, it's only £4 for Brian's All or whatever it was. Well, with the new site, we'll be able to work out, yes, it's £4 in 1967 or whatever it was, and that's quite funny, but what was £4 then equivalent to today's price? And then chart that and actually see what the real price difference is over time. We might even find out that, you know, a Brian's All winner was perhaps more relatively then than it is now. That'll be quite interesting. All the historical stuff will go into the new thing. Yeah, just lots more linking of all the stuff together and lots more joining of all the information up, basically, if that makes sense. Other features will be in there, like the there's a system being built, one of the next ones to build, which is it's for stuff like, so to put it in the slot machine context, it will be for places where you can get stuff good, so like useful contacts, people who can do things. So it might be mechanics, chrome platers, foundry people, people like Jim Backflash who can do artwork, whatever. Useful people, we can get useful stuff done. All of us know somebody, a little man in a shed somewhere who does something. I found a good man a little while ago, not too far away from here, down in Harlow way. We do motors, rewind little motors. It's getting hard to find anyone to do that these days. So it's good if you've got motors need doing. So anybody like that, you're really useful people, will be after all of you to find them, because as I always say, if you keep these little people to yourself, that's when they go out of business, because they go bust. If we share them, keep them busy, they keep in business, then when you want your motor rewound, or you want your backflash done, or you want your little brass casting done, or whatever it is, the people are still there, still in business, still just about clinging on, and you can get your bits and bobs made, can't you? So with that sort of thing, it's sort of like a notice board, if you like, but it will also work the other way around. So if you want something, you just put a kind of like a wanted advert. If you imagine like you pin a postcard in the post office window as you used to do, or up on the village notice board or whatever, and it would be kind of that. If you like, can anybody help? You know, I'm fixing my whatever and I need a widget, or does anybody know where I can get a so and so from, or can anybody help with a photograph of the left-handed sprocket on my thingamajiggle, whatever it is, stick a notice on. If you're more of kind of a business, you want a bit more professional presence, you can have like a proper advert for a few quid or something, whatever, to link through to your website and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, that's another whole system that's being built in. Obviously, the circus thing that'll apply to, you better put circus artists on, performers, all that kind of thing. So yeah, so these this system will kind of materialize in different ways for different sites of sites. So each of our kind of main categories here, well, not all of them, but most of them would have obviously the circus one's the one I'm building at the moment. Slot machine one will be next, so it will just be a slot machine site, nothing else. There'll be one for fairground, there'll be another one. One for automata I'll do. I'll do one for piers and things like that. Probably just piers, actually, seaside piers, because I'm a big fan. I've got a huge collection of postcards that could scan on, like, I mean, I can't remember how many I've got. Was it 15,000 or something? 20,000? I don't know. It's probably the biggest collection in the country, something stupid like that. A lot. When I was very into piers. That was an expensive hobby. Yes, anyway. So yeah, we'll do the whole piers website, all the history of piers, all the pictures, all that, blah, blah, blah. Advertising will probably be another one, like enamel signs and stuff. Because these sites all need different, they kind of need different features or presenting in different ways. What I tried to do with the ColdCon originally was build a system that could work for anything, but it kind of can't. It just didn't really work the way you need to lay out pages and the different relationships you need between different bits of information. Some, like I was saying, really, like people are really relevant to circus, because circus is kind of all about people, and there's not much stuff. There's not much stuff to collect about circus, other than posters and programs. Is pretty much it. It's all about the people and the performances. Whereas obviously with slot machines, it's all about the stuff. It's all about the slot machines, isn't it? We're not quite so interested in who made them or whatever. I find it interesting, but a lot of people aren't particularly bothered. What you want is the machines. How do they work? And what different Allwins are there? What different Brian's machines are there? What different trade stimulators are there? Or whatever it is you happen to collect. So different kind of areas of collectors have really quite different focuses. So whereas I try to do it all in the same, all on the same site, with the ColdCon site, as I did more of these kind of sections, the more I realised it was just never going to fit, because it just didn't quite work. So the new system is kind of lots of, it's like a shopping basket of different features, if you like, but some are, some of those features will be on the slot machine site, but two of those features might not be relevant to the circus site, but that might have another feature that's only relevant to circus and not really to fairground, and so on and so on. So with each new site, build different features, and then the next site I can just kind of look in my shopping basket and say, oh yeah, we need the people on this one, we need the places, we don't really need the event section, we don't really need the sales section because nobody sells anything to do with piers, for example, but we could do a good map would be good for piers, because we want to know where they are, that kind of thing. So it's a bit of a plug and play. Then the other thing with all these different sites will be the opportunity, if anybody wants to run one for like a profit share thing, that opportunity will be there. And again, if anyone wants to set up a new one, if you're really into whatever, it doesn't matter. If you're really into teddy bears, we can have a teddy bear site using all the features I've built. So you can have the biggest database of teddy bears and buying and selling section for teddy bears and history of teddy bears and all the teddy bear factories and so on and so on and so on. Yeah. And then also building auction searches for other auctions probably as well. It's a bit of a clash, a bit of competition. I need to think about that one. But you know, reality is there's not that many slot machines turn up anywhere else, as you all know. And I've already been playing with that with the kind of AI thing of distilling the results down. So if you subscribe to Sarum.com or or Easy Live or anything like that, and if you know, depending what keywords you use, when you get your email through once a week or once a day or wherever you subscribe, there's usually all sorts of other rubbish that are not really relevant. Depending how good your keywords are, because the search is just search on the keywords. So I'm teaching a system to be much better at only showing you circus stuff if you're interested in circus. It won't show you a China tea set that's got a name like Piccadilly Circus or a painting of Piccadilly Circus, for example. This is all stuff that often turns up if you search for circus, or top hats, because there's a few top hat makers in Piccadilly, all that kind of thing. Piccadilly Circus. You don't want that. What you want is circus. What we know is circus. With slot machines, you've seen if you search for slot machines, you'll sometimes get big industrial machines, because they're slot milling machines, big industrial metalworking machine things. Motorbikes, randomly I get for sometimes. It's something to do with gears or something. It picks up. I don't know why, but whatever. So yeah, trying to do a much more reliable system. So that's another thing on the old AI thing is gradually learning with each set of auction results come in. We teach it a bit more, and it gets a bit cleverer. It's good. It's interesting stuff. Learning a lot. It's also frustrating as hell, but yeah. Well, the bits are being built. Can't remember some other things as well. I've got so many ideas. They're bursting at me. What's it? But a lot of different features. So there we are. So I will have to chat all about that at the weekend, won't I? If you're coming, hopefully you are. Put this back up again. I'll just put the link back in the chat again as well. Let me just copy that, pop the link in there. For anybody who joined us late, link in the chat. There we are. I'll probably put another email out before the weekend as well. Can I bring the spares? Yes, if I can find them is the answer to that. Let me put that on my list. Any other thing? If anybody wants me to bring anything on Sunday, let me know. And also, if you've got stuff for the next auction you want to give to me, I'm not sure what the date is going to be yet exactly, but probably late August, early September, the way things are going at the moment. I'll be in my big van at Paul's, so you can drop it off, put it in the van. If you've got a machine, if you've got anything to collect, like David, just let me know, and I'll pop it on the van for you. That's not a problem. So I'll try and do another live stream Friday. It might be out Friday day, but I should be back in the evening in time. Paul's bag of photos, yes, Paul's bag of photos are here. Look, are you impressed? Probably still in your same carrier bag. There you go, right by my desk. So I'll do my best to actually remember to put them in the van and not leave them beside my desk. Let me put another note on my on this list as well. So yes, I'll put them in. What else was I going to say? Yes, Friday, video Friday. Tickets will go out Friday night as well. with a little map on how to get to pools if you've not been before. What else was I going to say? Can't remember. Something. I've forgotten something. I don't know what it is. Anyway, whatever. I remember by the weekend. Otherwise, I will see you, some of you, at the weekend. In fact, I'll see quite a few of you at the weekend, I think. Oh yes, that's what's going to. The weekend after that, I've got to try and see when I'm going to be at the weekend. So 11th and 12th, I'm away, doing a little telly job, which I can do without, but it's what it is. Yeah, 18th, 19th, that weekend, I shall endeavour to try and be at the warehouse at God Manchester one day. Don't know which way around yet. And perhaps do a pick-up drop at Rugby Services. That's a good spot for the Midlands. People seem to like that. It's easy to get to. Junction 1 of the M6. Rather than going all the way into Leamington, which is a pain at the weekend because they're usually doing bike rides or sponsored walks or something and keep closing the streets and digging roads up and God knows what else. It's a pain. So the services tend to work better. So 18th, 19th, pencil that weekend in. Hopefully I should be at God Manchester one day, and possibly the Midlands the other day. And then when we come back to do that TV job, that might be the next weekend. I can't remember how long they're shooting it for, so I'm not sure about the weekend after. But yeah, there we are. Yes, the 18th, 19th weekend. If you're around and about and want to call in somewhere, again, get in touch and we'll try and sort that out. Super. Right, I think that's it from me. I'm going to finish my cup of tea and then get something to eat, and then going to try and get a bit more website working. Yeah. Hopefully by Friday, you might be able to show you the buying and selling bit working properly. It's almost there. There's a couple of bits that not quite done. It'll be a bit tidier on the page as well. So yes, and the actual launch of the site, don't know, probably end of August, September, I should think. We want to put a lot more data on it first, and obviously there's a bit more things to get up and running. Oh yes, that's the other thing I was going to tell you. My auction of 1,001 things I don't really need thing. So what I'm now going to do with that, instead of an auction, I will put all of that stuff on the new website. So obviously the circus one's being built first, then the slot machine one. I've got all sorts of stuff that covers everything. So I'll do another kind of a bit of a general site. In the meantime, it might not be for total general public consumption long term, but what it will enable you to do is have a play with the buying and selling system, get the hang of it. And as it's all mine stuff, if you click a button at £20 to buy something and the system goes wrong and it ends up selling it to you for £1, well, I'm not going to make a big fuss over it because it's mine. It doesn't really matter. It will test the system out real time. If it was your thing and you sold it for 20 quid and then you only got £1 for it, you'd be a bit pissed off, wouldn't you? So I'll do it with all of my stuff first. So we'll start off with cheapy stuff. I have got some spare machines, so we'll put a few machines on, I think, on it. Just after a few weeks, after we worn it a little bit, just to give people an idea of a feel of some high value things. I mean, the high value stuff worked well with the old Colcon system during the COVID nonsense. We actually sold quite a lot of machines for quite good money, if you recall, back in the day. So people got the hang of that system. And that was totally different from the sealed bids thing. A lot of people, because they've never done anything like that before. Let's say this new one, it seems complicated at the minute because it's hard to explain until the pages are finished off. But just think of it like a natural deal between you and your mate, having a chat, having a bit of a barter. That's kind of how it works. So yeah, the seller can adjust their price. Buyer or several buyers can adjust their price, and when they meet in the middle, you say, yeah, all right, shake your hand, do a deal. Job's done. Simple as. there you go. Right. That's it. I need another cup of tea and some dinner. So I'll catch up again Friday evening. Don't forget to book your tickets. Keep an eye on your email. See you at the weekend, some of you. Looking forward to it. It's going to be great. Nighty night.